What is up, everybody? We are back. I'm Sean Woodland. He's Tommy Marquez. This is Inside Elite Fitness. Of course, we had that update show that we did that is not dead and gone. We have just brought it back over. Same guys, same shirts, same fun subject matter, and I'm pumped to be back.
High five, Sean. Heck yeah, it's great to be back. I'm glad to be back. You know, there's been a lot of change that's kind of shaken up the competitive landscape of the CrossFit world and the CrossFit Games. You know, we kind of had to shuck and jive a little bit of ourselves just to stay afloat, but you know what? We're back. We're happy to keep doing what we love, serving the greater CrossFit community and covering the sport we love.
Now, we are going to be with you throughout the Open. We're going to get you ready for all of the announcements. We are going to recap everything that went down, and we are going to be keeping an eye on all of the sanctioned events. If you have been asleep for like the past 6 months and you don't know what's going on with the CrossFit Games season, here's just a brief look at now what the season looked like. So regionals are now dead and gone. They gone. We now have the Open. We have 15 sanctioned events where competitors can earn an invite, and that's a distinction that we want to talk about here. You are invited from the sanctioned events, but you qualify now through the Open.
Yes, and not just that distinction is key, but the order with which those spots are awarded is key. So we're going to start from the top. You can qualify through the Open, and at first, the first thing awarded is the national champion spots. So athletes will qualify first by being their national champion, being the fittest person in their country that is recognized by CrossFit Inc. Next, the top 20 men and women as individuals that haven't earned a spot already as national champions will be awarded a qualifying spot to the CrossFit Games. Once all of those spots from the Open are said and done, then we'll go back to the sanctioned events, and invites from those sanctioned events will be awarded to the top finishers that haven't already earned a qualifying spot from the Open.
Yeah, easy for you to say.
Yep.
And we're going to go into a specific example of this later on so everyone has a better understanding. But first, let's get you caught up now on where we are in the season. We have had 4 sanctioned events. Here are the winners for the men and the women. And if you want to hear us break down all of these events individually, be sure to subscribe to our podcast. Check it out, Talking Elite Fitness. We get into every one of these events, but we're going to start on the men's side. And given who was competing at these events, not a lot of surprises here, except when you get to Fittest in Cape Town and Sean Sweeney. That was a big shock.
Yeah, that list was chock full of champions and podium finishers, but Sean Sweeney, despite being a multi-year Games veteran, he was maybe one of the athletes on this list that needed to earn an invite through a sanctioned event because, frankly put, he probably isn't going to earn a qualifying spot from the Open. His best finish ever is 57th worldwide, so not really in the running for one of those top 20 spots. He's from the United States, so with guys like Fraser in the mix, he's probably not going to earn a national champion spot. So he needed to pick and choose wisely which sanctioned event he was going to and win, and he did that with Cape Town. And he beat out a pretty talented field, including 8 other individual Games athletes, so hats off to the Cowboy.
Over on the women's side, the names we saw on that list, nothing but champions there. But Sam Briggs, who is supposedly in the twilight of her career, has won 2 of the 4 sanctioned events and is guaranteed an invite to the CrossFit Games.
She's won half of the competition so far, Sean. That's batting 500. That's pretty good. That's Hall of Fame numbers in my book. But given what she had happened last year, a season riddled by injuries, she didn't win her Masters competition. You started to think maybe there's a decline with all of these changes too. What's going to happen? And what does she do? She steps up, wins the very first sanctioned event in CrossFit Games history, and not only that, she wins a second one as well, just for good measure, I guess, you know, because she's Sam Briggs. But she's also 36 years old, and that can't be overstated how impressive that is, because you look at the average age of the women podium finishers last year at the CrossFit Games, 23 years old. She's 10 years and change older than those women that she's competing with at the Games at the highest level. So to still stand strong, it's just a testament to how resilient she is, you know, and showcasing that the engine's got a little more gas left in the tank.
And she is always someone we love speaking with, and we got to catch up with Sam Briggs earlier in the week. I know, last year didn't probably go the way you wanted to. You still made it to the Games as a master. But what did not making the Games last year as an individual kind of do for your motivation this season?
I think in the run-up to regionals, I was feeling really great. So to be able to have that taken away and not be able to compete at regionals and then in the at the Games as an individual just made me think I didn't want to go out like that. I would rather at least have another year competing as an individual and then by choice take the Masters route instead of an injury force that upon me.
We mentioned the backfill scenarios at the top of the show. Now, Sam Briggs has won 2 of the 4 sanctioned events. So let's assume now that she's going to finish top 20 in the Open in the world, and she is going to be the fittest person in her country. How does the backfill scenario then play out?
Well, there's a lot of scenarios on how that plays out, and I'm actually going to kind of take a step back and kind of walk through a couple of scenarios for you guys to kind of help you understand it. As of right now, if the season ended today and we started looking forward to the CrossFit Games, only one athlete is guaranteed a backfill invite through the sanctioned competition. That's Madeline Sturt. That's because Sam Briggs won Dubai, so she takes an invite from Dubai. Then she also won Australia CrossFit Championships. So that means since she already has an invite from Dubai, her spot from Australia gets passed down to second place Maddie. Now, let's throw a couple other wrenches in the mix here, just for fun, why not? So Sam Briggs ends up being the national champion of the UK, which she has done the last 4 years, I believe. So she gets a qualifying spot as a national champion, and now her invites from both Dubai and from Australia get passed down to the next person in line. Okay, let's add another wrinkle. She's a national champion and she's in the top 20 worldwide. She still goes as a national champion. Her top 20 spot worldwide gets passed down to the next in line, to the 21st place finisher worldwide. And then both of her sanctioned event invites, they also get passed down. So it's this huge kind of cascading effect following the order that we introduced earlier in the show. It's a lot to chew on.
Right, everybody got that? There's a quiz later. We will continue to talk about this throughout the season so everyone understands how the field of the CrossFit Games is going to be determined. We are through 4 sanctioned events. We have 11 left in the season, but coming up next, the big one, it is the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games Open, and the pressure is certainly on here right off the bat, and the stakes have never been higher than they are now in the Open.
No doubt, Sean, and for a few reasons. One, because for the first time ever in the history of the Games, the CrossFit Games Open is a direct path through the CrossFit Games, and actually it's the fastest way to the CrossFit Games because those spots are awarded first, if you remember the order. Secondly, for a lot of people outside of some of the major countries like the United States and Canada, where there's a pretty deep talent pool, this is the best opportunity for people in other countries to finally get to the CrossFit Games and have some representation. You look at, say, I'm just throwing this out there, say the fittest athlete in Madagascar, because they have an affiliate, because they're recognized, they can go to the CrossFit Games now, whereas they may not have even gone to regionals. So it's an awesome opportunity for some representation worldwide. And then you take a look at seeding. Now this is still a little bit murky here, but in the CrossFit Games rulebook, it specifically says that seeding at the CrossFit Games will be based on open scores. So not only can you earn a spot to the CrossFit Games, if you only have a spot through a sanctioned event invite, then where you're seated at the Games could be dependent on how you perform in the Open. And if you don't do it, you get the lowest seeding.
Right.
We don't know how that's going to play out at the Games just yet, but my guess is they wouldn't include it if it weren't important.
And the rumor is there will be elimination rounds, so you certainly want to get a higher seed, so maybe you get a bye through those elimination rounds. But again, that has yet to be determined. We're going to get into all of this in a lot more depth coming up in our next show. And remember, we will be with you throughout the Open. We're going to set each Open announcement up. We will also recap what happened in all of the Open workouts. If you haven't already subscribed to our podcast, it's Talking Elite Fitness. We break down all the sanctioned events that have already gone on so far. We talk about a lot of the seeding scenarios in a little more depth, so if you need a refresher on that, you can certainly get it there. And please share this show with your friends. We want to get the word out that, hey, we are back.
Oh yeah.
That is it for us for this very first edition of Inside Elite Fitness. For Tommy Marquez, I'm Sean Woodland. We will see you next time.